Yo, what up? Your man Roberto Flack here. Happy St. Patty's Day to everybody. It's a little bit past 2 in the morning, and I know I've been slacking on doing the recap for last weekend's fights. I apologize. It's been crazy busy. But any case, let's break it down. We had Ricardo Mayorga, Miguel Cotto, and Sergio Martinez, and Sergey Dzinziruk. Those are the two main fights. There were other fights, but we'll go on for like a half hour. Let's break down the recap first. The Martinez and Dzinziruk fight. I didn't watch much of Dzinziruk, to be honest. I did research on him, YouTube, whatnot, and the dude, is a very good technical fighter. Stiff jab, pretty good combinations, but doesn't have a lot of pop, and he's just very methodical, in the sense of just fighting his fight, and round by round, just you're gonna get what you're gonna get. And with Martinez, obviously we've seen he's pretty for a middleweight, he's a pretty unorthodox fighter in comparison to what's out there now. He's got speed, he's a southpaw. And he uses his feet really well, moves around the ring really well, knows how to turn after he hits his shots. And going into the fight, I'm thinking Martinez should have no problem with this dude. And for the most part, that's exactly what happened. There were parts in the fight between the 5th and 6th round where he started getting hit pretty flush from Dzinziruk. Dzinziruk started pretty much getting somewhat of a rhythm going, and then Martinez, put it into second gear, man, and took him out. Knocked him down twice, or 3 times, and I think there was a 4th one too. I could be wrong. And he got the win, man. He adjusted and was in a little bit of trouble, and came back and got the knockout victory. So what I've been saying about him since his rise to stardom, so to speak, is he doesn't really have a lot of dudes to fight. He's calling out Mayweather and he's calling out Pacquiao, but like the reality is those fights aren't going to happen. He's a middleweight, and possibly he'll go to 168. I mean, they're saying no now, but that's eventually going to happen because next to Mayweather and Pacquiao, those are the next money fights. A fight with Andre Ward, a fight with Carl Froch, a fight with Lucien Bute. Those are potential fights. And I think, regardless, Martinez walks around at like 170, 175. I mean, he was even dropping weight at one point, and he was already at 172. So I think he'll be fine at 168, though guys like Andre Ward may be a little bigger than him, but I think it's a scenario where you can make a good fight out of that. I mean, who wouldn't want to see Sergio Martinez and Andre Ward? That'd be a hell of a fight. And it's a fight we may see, because it seems as if right now at the middleweight, you got more up-and-comers than you do, real contenders. You know what I mean? Because though Martinez is, riding the wave right now, you got to remember, man, he's 35, 36 years old. And the last middleweight that had a run in an era where there wasn't, not a lot of stars. He'll be in that situation, but you don't want to be in that situation when you're 35 years old. So it's little different situation. So he's trying to make as much money as he can because he knows he's not going to be the same fighter when he's 40. And it's a testament to him that he's even that good at the age that he's at. So we'll see what happens with him, man. I think the move to 168 is going to be inevitable. So we'll see what happens. Off to Miguel Cotto and Ricardo Mayorga. A fight I was very interested in because of Mayorga's unorthodox and unpredictable style, in the sense of how he throws. Cotto in this fight, man, he was dealing with a real hard hitting junior middleweight, and he did a good job as far as his defense is concerned. He wasn't laying on the ropes as much as he tends to at times, and he boxed really well, man. I mean, I think what we're seeing with Cotto right now is we're seeing somewhat of they're talking about the old Cotto, but in a way, I kind of see this as a new Cotto, and I'll tell you why. And it's because you're not gonna see these. I don't think you're gonna see Cotto get as offensive and open up as much as he used to, simply because, if you noticed in this fight with the Mayorga fight, he got hit in this fight, plenty of times, and he got marked up, man. I mean, luckily he didn't have a cut over his eye, because that cut on his left eye is, there's the cartilage there ripped just like that. So, lucky for him that didn't open, but I mean, he was marked up in the fight. But on top of that, I think he knows, or at least I believe, and this is basically as far as how he's fighting now. He's fighting a lot better defensively, and he's not taking as many risks as he used to. He could slug it out with you in his heyday, but I think, when you look at certain fighters that have lasted the test of time as far as their career span is concerned, you start to see little adjustments made as far as how they apply their offense, because when you're laying, when you're throwing punches, man, you're taking a risk of getting hit with counter shots. And in a situation like, where Manny Pacquiao, as quick as he is and as many punches as he lands on people, he still gets hit. But again, that's a risk factor. Cotto, I don't think, can afford to be in those type of fights, at least in the sense of back to back to back to back like they were. So, and with the Mayorga fight, he did that. Like he paced himself. He boxed really well. The jab was there. Went to the body. One thing, and I don't know if this is because he's at 154 or not, but I didn't see the combinations that I'm used to seeing from him, man. As far as the array of combinations that he really has, and people underrate him for. And the speed factor, I didn't really see much of the speed factor there, and I don't, and again, I don't know if this is, ties into maybe, I think he is past his prime, but being past your prime doesn't mean you're shot. I think some people, they draw a fine line between that, and I don't think Cotto's shot. I just think he is past his prime, but I don't think he can fight like how he fought in 2008. But with what Emmanuel Stewart's doing with him, seems to be working, man. I mean, I think he's now adapting a style where he could become a pure boxer puncher, where he relies maybe a little more on the boxing as opposed to, trying to slug it out with you and bring the pressure to you. So he had a good performance. He got the knockout win in the end, or the stoppage, really. Mayorga pretty much quit. And what's going to happen now is what all us boxing fans have been going on now 3 years. The inevitable rematch with Antonio Margarito, which is probably going to happen in July, and it's probably going to be in Las Vegas, and it's probably going to be the biggest fight, one of the biggest fights of the year. Just the build-up for that fight is crazy, and they're already talking. They've been interviewing Cotto, and Cotto's, I want my revenge, but they're trying to play their cards right, because truth be told, man, this is a lucrative fight for both guys, and I think there's a story to be told in this fight, in and out of the ring. And you got Cotto, who has the opportunity to avenge his loss, but really to put to sleep the demons that I think have prowled around his career since the loss to Margarito. You know, because for a lot of you who just started watching boxing like a couple years ago, or and a lot of you that were watching and remember, Miguel Cotto was one of the guys patterned to fight Floyd Mayweather. I mean, this was a fight that many of us thought was inevitable, but he hit a big pothole in the road, and that guy was Antonio Margarito. But what we ended up seeing, obviously, a couple months later, is the whole hand rap scandal that was uncovered just prior to the fight with Margarito and Mosley. So, in a way, this is somewhat of a redemption for Margarito, even though he won. Because now he has to silence the critics that believe that he used plaster. He used or whatever blocks that were in those raps. So both guys have something to prove in this fight. Even though Margarito won that fight, it's still questionable. It's whichever way you look at it, it's something you can't prove technically unless Margarito or Capetillo come out and say, "Yo, we fucked up." But I doubt that's ever gonna happen, and this is why we have to have the rematch. I mean, it's gonna be epic, yo. I can't even imagine the first stare downs, and you could see there's a little animosity there because Margarito came to the press conference, or he was at the fight anyway. But Arum, being Bob Arum, brings him on to the podium, and he shakes Cotto's hand, and Cotto just gives him the icy look and shit. He's like, yeah, and you could tell Cotto wasn't pleased with that. So everything's already in motion, man. I mean, this is gonna be a blockbuster fight, and can't wait. Cotto did good against Mayorga, and Mayorga, to his credit, he may get some other fights. I heard they got like a 3-fight deal for him or something. So see what happens. How about a fight with him and Chavez Jr.? Interesting. And before I go, I guess I wanted to touch up on this big news that's hitting the boxing world, and that is the sudden move of Nonito Donaire to Golden Boy. This is a move a lot of people didn't see coming. Maybe some insiders knew about it. I conversed with some people that I guess couldn't say nothing, but knew probably since after the Montiel fight. And what's going on now is Bob Arum is stating that he still has a valid contract until June, but then there's something about like he didn't meet his requirements or some shit or vice versa. It's a big mess, and it's really it's almost turning into a situation kind of like how Pacquiao, when he first got started with Top Rank, some people don't know that he was actually signed to Golden Boy, and Golden Boy actually still gets paid when he fights. So maybe this could be another situation where Top Rank is the one that they're getting, but I doubt it's gonna happen because they got him. I believe so. But what's interesting is that we were talking about, and then I mentioned it prior, that Nonito Donaire now has the opportunity to fight Abner Mares, or the winner of Mares Agbeko. And being the current state of Top Rank and Golden Boy, that probably couldn't have happened being, they're not working together. So immediately, I would say that now he's got a great shot to fight some quality guys. The downside to it, maybe not, is he was also potentially going to fight Gamboa or Wanma in the next year and a half or two. Now, a lot can happen in a year and a half or two, but if everything stays as is, as far as both promotions not working together, we're not going to get to see those fights. And that fucking sucks. So I think either way, I think Golden Boy's going to push him because the kid's a star. But now it's going to be interesting as far as what's going to happen, who he's going to face when he gets up to maybe featherweight or junior lightweight. Where's that featherweight anyway? So we'll see, man. We'll see. It's still up in the air as far as the official call, but it looks like he signed the Golden Boy, man. So Mares or Agbeko versus Donaire is going to be fucking crazy too. So I guess we can look forward to that immediately. But that's pretty much it, man. Like I always say, subscribe, hit up the blog, hit up the new podcast with Jay Ivy, episode 12 of the Rob Report Show. Talk a little bit about Mayweather Pacquiao. He gives his prediction on it if it ever happens. And just stay tuned, man, and I'll be back. Peace.